Okay, it's Charlie here, coming to you from Raleigh, North Carolina on a beautiful evening right here by Lake Wheeler. This lesson is about describing how to test if your offer or your product, your service is good for the market and if the market is ready for your product. In this video, we're going to discuss two types of testing to help out with your market research. Hey, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Charlie Alexander. I've been a lifelong entrepreneur, and my objective now is to help career-weary people who are aspiring to become first-time business owners achieve that with the greatest success possible. So as I mentioned, there's two types of testing. Non-market testing is using the most convenient methods around you to test your product or service. One of the problems with non-market is it's not a genuine representation of your market, and if you speak to people that are close to you, it's inevitable that their bias is going to come into their responses. So in other words, asking friends and family, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, what do you think? It's the weakest form. Market testing is using a detached representative group of your target market. For example, there are market research firms that you can hire to do this type of testing for you, and they're absolute experts in it. If you have the budget to do that, it's really a great way to go. Another tip is to start with people that you know that are in or around that field that you're thinking about going into. You can also very economically use social media to take the temperature of the market and see how receptive it will be. You'll need to carefully filter all the information you receive and extract what's valuable and get rid of the rest. Your number one priority doing market research is to make sure it's gonna work. In other words, is the market interested in your product or service? Another way of phrasing that is there a market for your product or service? You want to make sure people want it and they're willing to pay for it. Now, doing market research just for the sake of doing market research is a complete and utter waste of time. It's the data you collect from doing the research that holds the true value. From that data, you can make many decisions that will guide the rest of your journey in this entrepreneurial pursuit. So to reiterate and to stress this, the number one priority for you when you're starting a business is to make sure there is a market for that business and what it's going to supply. As a side note, if you happen to be creating a new product, then you really want to make sure it works. In other words, test it again, stress test it, do whatever you need to do, make a number of prototypes, give it to other people to work with, and see how well it holds up and if it actually does what it's supposed to do. Then you can move on to slowly testing the market and see, will people actually buy it? What are they really willing to pay for it? That's one of the benefits that large companies have. They can actually test in different geographic markets and hold that up against the demographics for each market. So remember, there's non-market testing. That's speaking to people close to you. You can get a sense, but the truth is, don't put much stock in that. People's biases are going to come in. Oftentimes, a close friend or family member just doesn't have what it takes to give you genuine feedback. And in the long run, it could actually hurt you. As I mentioned, either using a firm or, I've used the local university. If you can develop a relationship at a local university, there's other ways to dig in and get a less biased, more accurate critique of your product or service. Now, if you use a third-party company, obviously it's going to cost you more money early on, but it may be well worth it. It may save you a lot of money in the long run. Those companies already know how to do this. They're experts in the field of market research, and they can take care of the entire process for you and give you the feedback and the actual statistical results that will give you really very strong information to move forward with or to change or maybe even just give up before you rush headlong into this because you think it's a great idea, but the truth is there's no market for it. And by the way, that could be with an existing service that there maybe is geographic constraints on. So for example, let's say you wanted to open a dry cleaner. Well, you need to research the market and find out. Maybe it's already saturated. Maybe the area already has enough dry cleaners and there's just not a large enough market. If you try to carve out a piece of market share, then all you're really doing is taking from the existing ones and decreasing everyone's. So you're really kind of hurting the market, not helping. As I mentioned in the key points, social media is a very strong tool to use to take the temperature of the market. Be careful to structure your research in a manner that you're really only getting feedback from your target market. You don't want just general feedback from anybody on social media. That's really no help at all. It can be very easy to slip into the mistake of focusing on people that are outside your target market and end up very disappointed in the feedback that you get. And that's really the reason they're not your target market. It's very important that you understand your offering and its relationship to and with the market. To have confidence in your results, you must be asking the right questions. Take the time to develop your questions very carefully so that they build on each other and they allow flexibility within the answers. Not only within the first set of questions and answers, but also that the answers provided may guide you towards creating additional questions or a whole nother set of questions, possibly targeted at a newfound segment of the market. You really don't want to waste all the time and energy, money, effort you've put into your product or your service because you didn't take the extra few steps to make sure it would be desired in your target market. Remember that doing testing simply for the sake of doing testing is a complete and utter waste of time, and it's the data you gather from it is where the value really lies. And you need to know how to interpret that data. I talk about that in great detail in the course and in the book. In fact, inside my course and within my book, I dig even deeper into the world of market research and testing. I guide you through the steps you need to take to ensure that the results you get from your market testing are valuable, that your product or service is right for the market, and the market is right for it. So there you go, talking about market research, a little bit how to do it and why it's very valuable. If you're on YouTube, please give the video a like, hit the subscribe button, and also click on that bell next to it so you're notified when I do more videos. Have a great day.